Hello and welcome back to Module 3, where we're talking about learning games. We've already discussed games to help you develop language, games which might get your heart rate going by improving a bit of movement, and now what we're going to be thinking about in this unit is games that get your brain moving a little bit as well. So we're going to be thinking about some brain training games. Now I should probably say that like many of the other games in this section, some of these types of games can be really good, all right, but some of these types of games might not be as good as others as well. So it's really important that you try out these different games. There's lots of people these days claiming to be able to improve your brain power or your mental arithmetic, but the reality of it is there's no kind of scientific proof for that. There is a bit of proof though around this game here. It's a game called Dr. Kawashima's Brain Training, How Old Is Your Game? I refer to it because it's been one of the top 10 best-selling games for about the last 5 or 6 years now. It always still seems to be up in the charts. It's available for the 3DS as well as the Nintendo DS. And there's been a lot of work done around it in terms of actually how it does improve your brain and your processing power, and we did a little project with it up here in Scotland around how it could be used to improve your mental maths. The activities inside it are actually very simple. One of the activities is around being able to do 20 sums as quickly as you can, or 100 sums as quickly as you can, or about trying to improve your cognitive ability by joining the different dots in a certain order to do things. So all of the activities are designed to basically improve your cognitive power through practice. It's also got Sudoku, which is built into it as well. Now, a number of years ago, the Learning and Teaching Scotland Consularium, the Scottish Centre for Games-Based Learning, they did a project using these Nintendo DS's in school to help improve mental maths, and it was really successful. Here's an example from one of the schools that was taking part in a DS project, and what you can see is that the children are using the DS, they're using the computer game along with their traditional learning resources as well. So again, the game isn't replacing traditional learning resources, it's complementing the different learning resources. Anyway, this specific project that I was telling you about looked at putting a number of these devices into primary schools, from across Scotland, and the interesting thing about it was that the results were very positive in terms of improving the mental math scores of these different groups of children. In fact, so positive, the article was written up by the main researchers, Dr. David Miller and Derek Robertson, both from the University of Dundee, and that was published in the British Journal of Educational Technology. So a really good example about how games and gameplay, if you've got the right game and the right methodology behind it, can have a real impact on learning and a real impact on attainment. As I mentioned before, there are a number of different brain training apps. I've mentioned Dr. Kawashima as one that we know works, but there are lots of other ones that are available, some for free and some that you have to pay for. And again, I would encourage you to go away and test out some of these apps to see whether they're any good or not, or whether they're relevant for your class or not. And again, this is a screenshot from the Android App Store so that you can start to see some of the range of different apps, the range of different mini games that are available. These are some that we've used with schools here. Maths Workout is very good. Not only is it free, but there's a lot of activities inside that are very similar to Dr. Kawashima's brain training, and therefore, I think it's valid because there's an obvious sort of link between the two in terms of activity. Sudoku is also very good. We know for improving maths, improving mental arithmetic, and there are lots of good examples of Sudoku games that are available as well online. And one that the kids really enjoy using here is one for Android, which is called MathsDuel. Sorry, it's also available for Apple iOS. I'd forgotten about that. And that's where you have to compete against other people in terms of doing different sums. And of course, because the game learns with you, the sums get more and more complicated as you progress through the game, or if the game knows that you're maybe not quite as good as at adding and you're better at subtracting, you'll start to get more adding sums in there as well. So the game is really looking after you, right, and it's building on your prior knowledge. So why don't you go away and why don't you have a think about exploring the App Store, perhaps for some brain training games, perhaps for some maths games, and think about how you might be able to use those in your classroom with your children.